Good morning. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Williamson County Board of Commissioners meeting today. It's July 26, 2023. It's about 10:08 a.m. Please.
Tim Atkinson.
Present.
Jim
Present.
Jim Racer.
Present.
We'll start off. We have public comment at the beginning of this. Unless somebody's got something they're going to say real quick, I'd like to move on down. Do we have any old business? Okay, on to new business. And we're going to start off with the donation for the City of Energy K9. And those, that fund, we've had a request from State's Attorney Ted Hampson to make a contribution to your K9 effort. And those funds are going to come from, if approved by this board, the funds are going to come from the local government distributed fund. And that fund is a restricted fund, and it can be used to support crime prevention programs, training, interdiction efforts, including detection, enforcement, and preventative efforts relating to illegal cannabis market and driving under the influence of cannabis. So, gentlemen, we have an opportunity to fund, give them a contribution for K9.
Absolutely. Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
could I speak, please?
Absolutely, yes.
I just wanted to, obviously, I'm Sheriff Diedrich. I just wanted to make a quick comment in support of what you're about to contemplate. The K9 program in Williamson County, as any county around the state of Illinois, is very collaborative. So what I mean by that is, as you think of a K9 being in the Village of Energy, the reality is that K9 will be used throughout Williamson County and even beyond. I was a K9 handler for the Village of Energy for a decade. I found myself in places as far south as Paducah or Cape Girardeau, as far north as Mount Vernon, Harrisburg, or Murfreesboro. So it's really done at request, to go those kinds of distances, but on a daily basis, it's used within our county. And so even though there are a handful of dogs, K9s in the county currently, when you start breaking down the amount of time that they are training, their on-duty and off-duty time, and so forth, having a dog available 24/7 is pretty imperative. And there are restrictions on law enforcement about the detention length of stop that we can do for a clean air sniff of the vehicle and so forth. So we're really restricted on the amount of time that we have for a K9 unit to respond before we have to conclude a stop. So this K9, while it will be at the Village of Energy, will actually serve the entire community as the other K9s do, and it will be a valuable asset. So I would strongly support, any decision to assist the village and to move that program forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Ted, would you like to make a comment?
So if you want to say anything.
Yeah, Chairman, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. I was going to bring you up last. So
So that's okay. I think pretty much everyone knows me. I'm Sean Ladd, Chief of Police and Energy, in my 27th year in that role. 10 years ago, when Jeff came to me as one of my patrolmen and talked about a K9, I told him, I said, hey, a town our size just doesn't have the funds to not only start a program like that, but to maintain it. And, Jeff said, well, we can have a fundraiser. And I said, well, thinking like a spaghetti or a monsticelli dinner, thinking we might raise $3,000 or $4,000. And he goes, no, that's not what I'm talking about. And I'm sure you gentlemen have become familiar with Jeff and his drive and determination. He has a lot of business contacts, and Energy was fortunate that several local business owners stepped forward and donated all the money to get us up and running. We started an annual fundraiser. This year will be our 11th. It's in October. I believe Commissioner Razor has been to our fundraisers before. I know Mr. Hampson has. There's sellout events every year. It's a top-notch deal, and I can stand here before you and tell you that our entire K9 program for the past decade has not expended one taxpayer dollar. It's all privately funded. I think that we're the only K9 program, at least in the area, that can say that. And back when we started this program, there weren't many K9s in the county, believe it or not, just 10 years ago. I believe Marion had one. The Sheriff's Department might have had one left in action. The K9s had peaked about 10 years prior to that and then had faded off. I don't know if that was funding issues, manpower, or what it was. City of Aaron's 10 times our size. They didn't have any. And so Jeff and K9 Vigo were all over the place, helping. And then our method of raising money and running the program has since been copied by nearly every other agency that has K9s in. So we're kind of proud of that. And, we do seek out donations, so we're not spending local taxpayer money on the program. That's probably the thing that we're proud of the most. And when Jeff stepped down from Energy last year, it was time for K9 Vigo to step down as well. He had served 10 years, which is far beyond the average service life of a dog. We got real lucky there. But we have since, in the last 2 months, purchased K9 Brahm. And K9 Brahm comes from Holland and has reached the States just a couple of weeks ago. He's with new handler Jason Engelbright now, and in 2 weeks they leave for their 10-week academy. The dog and the academy is a $22,000 endeavor. Of course, doesn't count the vehicle and the kennels that have to be built, the bed, you name it, it just keeps going, right? The maintenance, the upkeep, the training, K9 training is constant. They have to work with the dog every week and to get certifications from the state. So it's an ongoing expense, so we like to try to keep that fund healthy. And we've taken a pretty big hit with having to replace the dog and train. So State's Attorney's Office has always been good to us. Former State's Attorney Brandon Zanotti, who's always a donor to our program. And I reached out to Ted as well, and he mentioned the possibility of these funds. So I thank you for at least considering it today.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes.
Appreciate those words.
Chief Ladd, you bring up a good point about the funds aren't coming from taxpayers. They're coming from the sales tax, sales of cannabis. That's always been a controversial subject ever since its implementation. But yet, on the flip side of it, this is one of the good aspects that we utilize this money. That is, once that money is then distributed to various counties, various communities, this is what this money can be used for something good like this. So I think it's a very worthwhile effort for this.
Thank you, Jim.
Absolutely. I'm the new guy here, and when I came on board, when I started reading everything I could to educate myself, I sort of came across this fund and a lot of restrictions on it. You can't just use it for anything, and I think that had kept it from being used in the past. So I reached out to the sheriff first, the state's attorney, and said, hey, no, this fund is here, that we need to use it, because it's one thing to collect taxes, and we hear the complaints about I'm being overtaxed, but it's, in my mind, another thing when we collect a tax, we don't utilize it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're starting today. I also like the structure of this. I think this works better as a matching funds rather than purchasing things completely. And that's what we're doing here with a partial donation on this. So I just think this is a great move.
I agree. And that being said, Julie, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion that we approve the donation to the City of Energy for K9 purchase. I believe the amount is $7,500 that would be coming from the local government distributed fund that we received.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call please.
Tim Atkinson.
Yes.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Jim Raisik.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for that, and we will put the money to good use. If it's all right, I'd like to give each of you a couple of tickets to our fundraiser this year.
Absolutely.
Would love to see you there. And with that, I'll step out so you can continue the rest of your business.
Actually, if it's all right with the board, would you guys like to take a 5-minute recess? Sure. Okay. Would you take a 5-minute recess?
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Okay. These are the good days we get to have.
Absolutely. We would love to see you at the event. And if you need one, you just reach out to me.
Absolutely.
I'll take care of it. It's October 7th.
Okay.
I'll have a commission picture.
Oh,
okay.
All right.
Get a picture with the board.
Oh, well, okay, absolutely.
Oh, we can have them around there.
Okay, all right. Jim, I'm gonna lay these right here for you.
All right.
If you need some more, you let me know. Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you want to sit, Ted?
Wherever the sheriff sits, I just.
Right here.
Right here, okay.
Flags in the background.
Yeah, sure, sure.
What would you like me to?
You're the chair.
I'll be right.
I'm gonna get next list too big, guys.
Just turn.
Trust, so this is 3.5%.
Everybody ready?
All one year. This is 3.5%.
Thank you very much. I'm sure you'll distribute those to us.
Yes.
Could I grab you? Put 'em right-
Yeah, sure.
Three, two, one.
It's just the same.
Three,
Trust it's
two,
two
one.
signatures.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen.
Thanks again, man. Thank you.
You come back anytime. You can stay or you can come back. Just keep it. Yeah, that's always appreciate it, guys.
All right, good job.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, no, it's a tow truck guy.
No.
Thanks, Chief. Oh, yeah. Is he?
Yeah.
See you. Take care. Okay, take care.
Okay, all right. See you, Jeff. You said.
Actually, I didn't get a chance to shake your hand.
First card would be the second. Right down the slip.
Perfect.
They parked in between.
Yeah.
Walking at least two into the other place. So they just thought their car. Nobody in there. Maybe he was gonna tell her the door was unlocked. It's true. Yeah, this guy, he's getting in his car, he can get out. He's totally.
She is.
She's in there. Hello. Julie's on today? Yeah, she's at one of the, John's fighting. Yep, she should be here. Freeze her. Over there, she's cold. She don't have a jacket or anything. She said she cleaned her car out, there's nothing in the car.
There was one time that my sister was over here for some kind of one day I was over there. I literally have like, she's like, "It's free." So, what are friends for? So, okay, see y'all later. See ya.
I don't even think they're on
So I've asked the mayor for a rough count.
there. I don't think they are. I think we've looked.
They, mayor has actually offered to eBay phones and then they fund that for donation to charity. I'll handle all of them. So that's what they're saying. It's better than throwing them away.
Well, I think you better some things from the time before they were.
They also said they have a recycler that comes through once a year, picks up electronics free.
That's something.
Yeah.
The PVC has a place from Evansville that comes over once a
We'll
month.
come back and fix this one. We don't
Yeah,
need
so
to-
Usually, I mean, for us, I think you the two, we just put it in the hallway or in the, one of the stairwells. They take it up and they store it over in EMA money for that building, and then if that company comes through and
They don't
has a truck, they don't charge them for it, but I'm aware of it.
I know we've got stuff in that computer room through with the mayor and you try that. We did that with John School. But I know it's not.
Yes. All right, we're back from recess. It's 10:23 a.m. And moving on down our agenda. Commissioner Razor, I think you added the next 4 items to the agenda. Would you mind taking it from here on those?
A lot of discussion and consideration. I don't know if we'll be voting on anything today, but mayor has been communicating with me over the last few weeks about several topics that I think we're going to have to take some kind of action on. As they continue to dig through on the switchover, they are finding software license for much of what's running, but they were not able to find any software license for the commissioner's office. So our machines, I'm assuming this would include HR, they've not cleared that up for me yet. We have no license for like our word processing documents.
Yeah, all of that should have been in place.
It should have been,
From the
yes.
previous.
It should have been. The Office 365 lease comes down to $10 per month per commissioner is what we're talking about. So I don't know any clarification on whether or not that's covered under the conversion. Already approved all the IT numbers, or if we'll need to approve that on its own later. But right now we have
No license.
no licensed software running on our free machines. So something to think about there. This one gets a little convoluted. I'll try and make it as clear as I can. So there are a large number, and they won't tell me how many, but they've used words like huge, gargantuan. Apparently, there's a very large number of reserved phone numbers for direct dial numbers. Under the old system, we didn't have to pay for reserved numbers. Going forward, we'll have to pay for any that are reserved and not assigned. So I sent an email out a couple of days ago to as many offices as I have in my list to see if anyone needs any more direct dial numbers. So this would be the idea of a number that will ring directly to a desk and not come through the tree of extensions. So far, no one's replied that they need any more. But I think we should be able to wrap this up within a couple of weeks and release those reserved numbers if we wanted to hang on to some. And I honestly don't know why we would. Because when I asked if we release them all and we need one later, can we get them? I go, sure. So I just don't personally see a reason to reserve numbers when we have to pay to reserve them. But any office that does need or even want a direct dial number, we have those available.
Did you give them a date? The date on there?
I did not, but I would think we should be able to wrap this up within a couple of weeks and try and avoid any cost at all. The new phone system has a function in it that's an instant messaging or an internal chat. I don't know how much it's being used. I think I've used it 3 times the whole time it's been here. Ashley, is your office using it at all?
We've used it a little bit. The problem is if you don't, we've done it internally. I tried to get a couple of people, my wife and I were trying to just try it out, but I don't know if anybody's adopted it as a regular use function.
And I don't think so. So I don't think it'll be a big issue. I've checked with the state's attorney and also with Brett. The belief is anything that's processed through that will be FOIAble. And Mayor says there is no way to adequately store and search those instant messages. So there is an option of just disabling the function, turning it off. And I think that's one thing we do need to decide on. It's just as simple as if we decide to avoid any issues we would have with FOIA, we can just ask them to turn it off across the campus.
Something that we've never had before.
We've never had before, and I think utilization is very small.
And I think this is right, and it's very, and this is something that we probably should take it off.
Do you know, is it an all or nothing thing?
Yeah, it's a very limited process, so it just doesn't have a whole lot of options to it. But they said they have the ability to store quite a bit of it, but they don't have an ability to search it adequately. That if there was a FOIA request, they would just have to dump extras. And I
think Jackson County uses it, like their judicial system. It's like my wife is familiar. Right. The issue with that is that if a certain clerk and the judges are the only ones that have one mayor's system open. And the others are on other different platform. So that would maybe be why they could use it there, because then you've got a
Very limited.
like concise, limited, group sampling. This would be,
And I can't ask them that, to that point, I think you may be able to disable it by phone. So if we felt like there was an office that needed it, then we could possibly do that. But I think before it's actually utilized, it may be just as easy to just get rid of it, avoid any.
I think, yeah, knowing that there's potential for something we can accommodate, we should just take it off. That would be my vote. But short of hearing the legal opinion. That would be my vote.
And without that here, I guess we'll.
Yeah.
We can look into it.
We can look into
Well, and this is the thing, I didn't know exactly what that was, so we'll put it on the next agenda. And Stephanie, could you make sure that gets on the next agenda, please? Thank you.
Large box old phones. So I've started the process of getting a count of those phones, manufacturer and model numbers, so we can get them declared as surplus. They really have no value to us, and actually took a call from Dean saying, hey, there's so many phones. These boxes are large. They're really taking a bunch of space. They moved a lot of them to their facility. They're actually storing them for us. They've offered 3 options. And one of these has already been adjusted a little bit this morning. One would just be to destroy them. The other one, they have a service that comes through this at once a year and will take all electronics free. If we go drop off electronics, we have to pay. Treasurer just told me that PBC also has a group that comes through once a month and collects electronics free. So probably the thing to do once we have them declared surplus is to just get them to PBC, be picked up, taken for recycling.
You'll have a calendar, so pretty soon.
I requested a count and like I say, a manufacturer model number, and so they'll have it for me Friday. So I'm a little behind on that. So
No rush.
the process has
Or
started.
include the light phones that we still have. Some,
What's that?
does that include some of the old white phones?
I think,
That's what I was just telling him. I think I have a box of those too.
yeah, I think we probably just get them all.
Find them everywhere. I think there's one in a drawer in there. I know I've got one in my cabinet.
So maybe if we take, a month to round all these things up, we can clean up some space around here. Space is always valuable. I did not have it on the agenda, but it kind of related to the server room and all of that. The portable AC unit in there is not ours. It's a loaner from Mayor. So we either need to operate without it or replace it.
I thought PVC was going to put in the split system there.
I think it came down to no more than what is needed. We don't need the cost of a mini split.
So is there another solution? Or is that-
I reached out to a local HVAC company and said, hey, do you deal in these? And they kind of chuckled and said, well, it's a little small for us. Just go to a big box store. So quite literally, you purchase these at a Walmart, a Lowe's, a Home Depot. I priced them out. The unit that's currently in there, you can get for $500 to $700. A high end on these is less than $1,000. I did ask Mayor, because they offered, and I asked them to go ahead and shut the unit off for a couple of days and see if we saw a big spike in temperature without it. Their reply was they would be glad to do the test, but they like to have a unit in there in case we would lose HVAC in the building. It's at least there to back up. So we're talking about, I think in generally a $750 cost here to back up. It's something to consider again for future. I don't have paperwork to make the process today on that. It felt like we needed to talk about it.
You'll put it on the next agenda.
Yeah, I would think within the next couple of meetings, this should be a pretty easy
Should be,
decision for,
yeah.
to go yay or nay on this.
State, would you put it on the next agenda? Please? Thank you.
That's the end of my list.
That was a pretty good list, Jim. So the two things that we really need to make a decision on the agenda, we didn't miss anything else, right? For the agenda?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We did have an issue that you brought up earlier, Chairman, outside of the meeting.
Yeah.
We had a dirty email that was sent to all the commissioners. And doesn't look like any of our software tools caught it. It was not open. The malicious part of the file was not open. Maybe the software would have caught it there, but I don't like going that far in a test. So I've reached out to Mayor already. They're supposed to get back with me this afternoon so we can look at this a little more closely. I've saved the email. I took my machine offline and we'll allow them to look at it and see if their software should have caught it. If their software didn't catch it, we need something else in place.
That's why I can't log on.
Did you open it?
I didn't touch it.
You haven't even been in. They did updates on all of our machines the last couple of days while you were at conference. Welcome back from conference, by the way. So you might just check with them and see.
She changed my password.
And it may be that it's still in their login account, so be sure and check your account name that you're logging in to, because that happened to me. You gotta go back to your account.
Must have changed my email. Because the sent items, the emails I sent are no longer in the sent to the Outlook. And I don't know if that's the way that should be. I had to search to find them. So I've sent a few emails twice. Because it didn't come up.
But you didn't think they go.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll bring that up with Brian as well.
So, all right, anything else on new business?
One thing, and I did kind of share with State's Attorney, Chief Ladd, at the conference that I attended, one of the topics that they discussed was the First Amendment audits. And what a First Amendment audit is when people come around video cameras, claiming they've got the right to go into public buildings and video wherever they want to video. For the most part, they're correct. But there are certain actions that we can take to limit as to where they go. They're looking for a fight when they come in so that they can post these videos online. And by doing that, they in turn receive hits from viewers and they get their reward, whatever that may be. But there are certain areas that they aren't allowed to go in. I think some of the key areas from the conference that they brought up was you have to have signage. Number two, you have to have a policy in place. So we're working with the state's attorney in developing this for signage. You might want to make sure that you above your doors it says not just employees, but maybe authorized personnel only be on this door. You know, that would include any IT or anything like that. You know, if you have any third-party vendors that you work with, they would be allowed to go in, because they would be authorized. But anyone that is coming in with a video camera would not be authorized. That would protect your employees from being interviewed or anything like that. These people are looking for a fight. And the main point of the conference was to just remain calm, let them go where they want to go. They do have the right. This is a public building, the First Amendment, to go in and, for the most part, unless it's a restricted area, it's IP, anything. So I've got the PowerPoint presentation on the state's attorney on this to kind of protect ourselves. Policy is the big, and policy is always going to be no matter what. insurance company is the policies here. So, because if push comes to shove, it always goes back to what's your policy. So, but anyway,
I
let's,
would imagine that the insurance company would be policies that we could look at.
they might, yeah. But anyway, it's good.
There are other counties that have that already.
Very informative.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was good, it was very good conference. Oh, well,
What's that?
That's another one.
for being that far in the corner of the county. You know, it's heavily attended.
Really? I'm good. How was the weather?
Beautiful.
Golf was okay? There you go. Excellent. All right, anybody have anything else in new business? All right, moving on, we have, let's see, move all the way down to the bottom. Budget and strategic planning. We have a date here on July 27th. Well, audits were supposed to be sent, that was the extension date. And in May, I asked the auditor to file an extension. And right now, I'm getting the last little bit of information that's needed for audits to be complete. And I'll make a phone call to the comptroller's office this week to talk to them about the July 27th date. And then I'll report back to you guys at the next meeting when our audits will be sent in. We'll send them to the comptroller's office. Okay, I should have that information next week. It's just information that we're unable to gather. And as of this morning, we can now get access to that information and complete the audits. Okay, you guys have questions or anything about that? All right, move on. Actually, I think you had some ARPA stuff.
Yeah, well, ARPA, I guess to piggyback onto Commissioner Razor, I actually have a salvage or a surplus declaration that we need to be placed, so we can add that to it. There's a 94 4-year star vehicle that is at the coroner's office. Their compound that they no longer need. So somehow I got tasked with helping resolve that issue.
Dispose of that?
Yeah, so we'll need to add that in to the phones as well, but after, I think Reddit said you have to have that on, it takes board action to declare
We have to have.
a surplus of treatment.
Stephanie, could you add that also, make a note of that, so we can make sure we have that for the next meeting?
And I've got the title, so if you need like specific, I don't know if you have to be specific as to.
Well, I would imagine. we'll
Yeah,
probably-
requires them in and.
Got it all, that's the whole thing right there. So I'll get a copy of that thoroughly. Just to piggyback on the budgeting thing, just for an education purpose, the funds that you use to provide to the dog are all actually, we did require board action. You can, but that's already calculated into the budget. All of those are restricted funds, all the standalone accounts, and all the funds that are trust restricted funds within the general fund, all have the prior year's balance included in the budget in addition to any received or anticipated revenues. The budgets are always calculated to basically expend 100% of what's in those funds either currently or in the future fiscal year. So it's just a plain one. So if you get that request again, you can just do it on any trust fund.
Request.
Well, all trust funds are signed by the commissioner, so we'll still take a 2/3 signature, just like IMRF advances or transfers, anything that's listed, any of the coroner's cremation funds, all of those require board approval.
So basically,
board, I mean,
it all still comes back.
it still comes back to you. Yeah, so I mean, you can do it in a board action, but also you can just sign it as a claim form if you're short
In
on
this instance,
time or something like that.
many of the I would assume all the claims come through, the money's already been expended.
Mhm.
So we're saying, in this instance, we were asked prior to the money being expended, and we do that, which is what we do.
good enough.
Thank you.
Right, so essentially that claims can be on the account.
We just need to make sure they qualify.
Before.
Yes, yeah, we need to make sure it meets the.
If there's a question, we'll bring it to the meeting.
Yeah.
And so whoever spends money anticipating coming out of that fund, they better be sure about the ability for it to come out.
Yeah, like that particular one, I think the only thing would be a question is whether or not would it have to be used for county use? Or could it be used for others? And there's no restrictions on it, but those would be the type of statute you either have to have clarification on verified, but those are verified. So I've got multiple ARPA claims. First one I've got is for Sling River Farms. The amount's $20,110. This is for professional services from Porter Schifrin for site services, transportation services for engineering cost. No, that's right. Very fine.
There's no claims on those?
I'm just gonna tell you what they are, and then I guess I'll bring them to you later.
So all of this has been approved, so.
Yeah, this is, Village of Craneville for $20,472.50.
Is that for the lift stations at Craneville?
No, this is for,
Yeah, we did surveys.
yeah, this is for, inspection fee work, sewer interceptor work. I think there was some pipelining that was done by Scuda Construction, Wicks Excavating, and then from PSC Engineering. And that one. I've got another one for Sling River Farms for $10,000. This is for a retainer for legal work. This is a required retainer from this firm out of Mathis, Marathon, and Richter for services to be performed, engaging and reviewing IRS statutes, regulations, case law, et cetera. Then I have another one for Lakeside Water District for $1,806.08.
How much was that amount?
$1,806.08. That is engineering services provided by Horner Schifrin. Then I have one for Burnside Water District, $3,539.14. That is for also for engineering services for Horner Schifrin. And that was all of those. I apologize for not having those ready. I got ARPA reporting on the brain, so I have 3 more ARPA projects to input and complete for reports. So hopefully I'll have that done either today or tomorrow. So I'll run all that through, run it through verification analysis. And once hopefully everything looks according to what it should be, then I'll be sending you the reports. We've given out, I think, almost $5 million now. I think that'll be showing up. Well, we get up $5 million a day. I think on the report it was to be somewhere around 4.6 million, I believe, that we've given out. So several projects. The projects have grown from, I think we had 24, and now I think there's 30 or 31 that will be listed on this report. So, I mean, we have seen more activity, and some are getting finished. We've got a couple that have met completion status and everything. So those are, so the only thing, and I'm still waiting on, haven't got a response from the very many, is the audit requests that we've had. We've had very few. I think once I get this report finished, I'm going to kind of reach out, talk to some of those and see where they stand, because a lot of those had fiscal year ends and should have been April 30. So I would think that they should have, you know, their audits completed. I know we've been providing a lot of information to various accounting services that are handling audits for water districts and the smaller, you know, villages and towns. So hopefully I can get that information if we ever get it.
We can get
On
copies of
ours.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what I like for Village of Pittsburgh, I just had them email it to me, so I have it. I was trying to compile all of them, we're trying to make some, ask Mayor if we could put a shared drive together or something, to just put it on there instead of emailing, large megabyte files around. So I've only collected Pittsburgh so far. They provided it to me, but otherwise, that's my plan, is just to do that. Put some kind of maybe shared drive. It could be accessed, it could be those park lines.
Only, 2.5 more years of this, your friend.
Yeah, I know. I say that, I premise every quarter.
I did chat with the village president of Cole. She told me that their project should be going out for bid very soon.
Yes. And I think we have a modified process on payment to that process for the project. So we're in good shape. I think that I've been contacted engineers several times. And I think once they send it out for bid, if everything comes in under the budget, to the budget, that would be. A lot of these projects they were close to being shovel ready, and there still was engineering, but it's just, they've been so busy, they just can't keep up with it all. So I'm glad to hear that we're at least starting maybe a few complete. And, all right, gentlemen, we have, do you have a travel reimbursement there yet, Jim?
Not yet. I've got the attorney knowledge and everything. The association will reimburse the county for, it's gotta be at least 80% of the hotel stay, and they'll reimburse 100% of the mileage. So,
I don't have any news on the road extension project. I will ask you guys a question. Have either of you heard a start date in there? So,
The last thing I heard was several weeks ago, I heard in August. I have seen their billboards and switches to the things. But I assume, again, an assumption, that'll get you in trouble. But their grand opening will be announced ahead of time, so they're still weeks away, I believe, at the earliest.
I believe you're correct, yeah. Okay. As far as health insurance, I know that the Hope Trust people were here last week collecting information. And they're compiling that, trying to get us some numbers to go. So that's coming quickly, I'm hoping to have that complete. All right, guys, that's about it for what either of you have anything else? Anybody online want to make a comment? Now's your chance.
I'll make a motion. Sure.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Tim Atkinson.
Yeah,
Jim Marlowe. Jim Razor.
thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Ashley. Let's get that, next targets.